Welcome to the very first episode of Hearts in Harmony. Today's project is a little longer than my usual tutorials, but I promise it's super easy, totally beginner friendly. I'm going to show you how to take your rubber stamps, shimmer sprays, rub-ons, and even those long lost treasures in your stash and turn them into stunning embellishments for your junk journals, tags, and also mixed media projects.
I started by stamping one of my ISC postage background stamps onto watercolor paper. And before I do that, I'm showing you the distress reinkers that I will dilute about 2 to 3 to 4 drops in a small container that I call misters. And again, you can also add other mediums if you'd like pearlescent powders to give it some shimmer. And now I'm using the archival sepia ink to apply on my background postage stamp. And what I like to do, what I love about these pads, these are oldie but goodies, is that the lid detaches and it just allows you to achieve the darkness that you want on your stamp. And then you just snap it back on. Then I will apply the fine embossing powder, which is my favorite when I'm embossing. And here I'm showing you the effect once I've heat set it. Now I am using metal die cut labels, which I will then run through my Sizzix die cut machine. If you don't have a die cut machine, you can, after you apply your stamps of choice, you can cut out labels however you like. It's completely up to you. Next, I added color using 3 easy techniques. The first one is where I diluted the distress reinkers in water inside the mini spray bottles. And I will speed this up just a little bit so that you can kind of see the process. So enjoy the music. And then after this first step, we'll discuss the second technique and then the third one. And also afterwards, I will show you how I then adorn the die cut labels and then how we're going to make some embellishments and so on. So please stay tuned. Next technique, I played with Nuvo shimmer powders and added water to activate that bold sparkle. And can I just say, these powders are absolutely stunning. I only have 3 colors, four, and the fourth one is more Christmassy. But my gosh, you've got to try these if you have them in your stash. It is such a fun medium to work with. And finally, I misted on a few ink sprays in earth and jewel tone colors to bring the final batch of, and I did throw in some bright colors too, to bring everything together. And again, this is to encourage you to use what you have. Like I said, I've had these sprays for over 10 years and I use them as often as I can. This yellow one in particular, as you'll see, it barely like squirts in color spray, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to use it till I have no more. But again, it is so much fun to just use what you have in your stash. And now that everything has dried, as you can see, I'm using the heat tool. Again, if you don't have a die cut machine, you could just pre-cut these yourself. And then I did add some distress inks on the edges of the labels, and I'm showing you the Dollar Tree rub-ons that I will be using on each of them, which I did pretty much to speed this up a little bit more. And I will show you how I apply it to one of them. But again, I've had these Dollar Tree rub-ons forever, and it felt so good to take them out and use it on these embellishments. Next, I will add some brads. I will add, excuse me, eyelets and also some bead chain, and then we're going to get into some of the additional embellishments that we'll be making. And pulled out some ancient Tim Holtz Distressables from 2005 to add text and a little pop of character. Talk about a stash win. And here are the final look before we go into assembling another set of embellishments to give you an idea of how to use what you have in your stash. Once I had all my labels finished, I use them to mass make easier embellishments. And here are the scrap papers that I've had in my stash for a very long time. And I've cut out different tickets, different labels, even butterflies. And I'll show you how I've used them. And again, go through your stash, go through your paper pads, and start cutting things out. And next, we're going to assemble and make some really cool and unique embellishments with these fun finished labels. We're going to start making a bookmarker with a side tuck, and I'm showing you that I did distress the edges already and the dimensions for you to consider making one your own. It's super easy, super quick. And again, it's just grabbing what you have in your stash. So I score the 1/2 inch uh, sides on I think it's like almost four, I think something like that, 4 inches wide. And I give you a peek as to how I did the scoring. And I will be applying glue on the top and the bottom just a little bit, and we'll add the embellishments as you will see shortly. Here I'm attaching the charm cross on the bottom and the bead chain on the top and showing you how it tucks. This next is a cute and simple. I took that from one of the scrapbook papers, and I am going to show you how I will add a couple of jump rings and also the bead chain on the bottom, and I'm showing you the scrapbook paper that I cut that tag out of. Here's another fun way to look at your scrapbook paper is grab a couple of tickets, labels, and showing you how I cut one of the words from that scrapbook page, and I distressed the edges. I made a second tag, if you will, from cardboard, and I will glue this word onto that longer cardboard piece of paper that I cut and added a small and a medium size eyelet, and again with some dangle. And this will look beautiful on a tag, on a journal. You can gift it to someone if you are into swaps or pen pal. Just imagine the possibilities. And here's the final look of that embellishment. I think it turned out really cool. And this one coming up next is my favorite one. I love that teal, that brown. And I'm showing you that I cut a simple tag from scrapbook paper. I added a brad, and here I took a triangle. I don't know how I came up with that. I just did it on a whim, but it's actually a little pocket that will hold that little tag that you see there with the word that I stamped kind on. And I will fast forward this a little bit more so that you can see the process because it's super self-explanatory. And then I will give you a look at all of the embellishments that we made with these fun die cut labels that we use, those three fun and easy techniques. This was such a fun and low pressure way to get creative and use what you already have. Mixed media doesn't have to be complicated, just layer it with love. If you enjoyed this, be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments which sample was your favorite. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's not about perfection, it's about creating from the heart. Until our next episode.